And then her parents gave us like a whole Amazing Race boot camp. They taught us how to drive stick shift. We had like a rented car. They would literally blindfold us, put us in the back of their truck, drive us off to a random location, and then give us a map and be like, okay, now you guys need to make your way back home.
When you guys got the call for Amazing Race, how quickly did you say yes? What did you have hesitation?
Oh my God. So it wasn't like, we actually had to go through the entire casting process again for it. I mean, Jesse called us like way back in like December, I think. We were like on a trip in Mexico, and he was like, hey, would there be interest? And we're like, oh yeah, 1000%.
100%.
And then time started going by, and actually during that time I got reached out to for the challenge, which is finished airing now. And there was a point when I was going through casting for the challenge and Amazing Race at the same time. And then I think I got the offer for the challenge, and Amazing Race hadn't got back to us yet. So I had to decide if I was going to take one or the other one, because I was pretty sure I wouldn't be able to do both. So I think I actually was going to take the challenge, right? Is that what it was? No, I was going to turn down.
Take the race.
I was going to turn down the challenge to take the race. So then I called Jesse and I was like, hey, this is how things are going to go. I think I just want to like risk it and like see if we can like get onto the race. And if not, then it's fine. Like, I don't really watch the challenge that much anyways, as things kind of played out. And then Jesse was like, okay, cool. And then we went through the Amazing Race casting process, the final interview, and then he called us like that day and was like, all right, so how would you guys like to be Team Purple? And then we like lost it.
Man. Such an amazing day.
Wow, that's crazy. I wish I recorded it. Like, me and Claire were like in tears.
Yeah, we got off. I don't know if we can even like really say this, but like we got off our final interview call and we're like, I don't know if that was good. Like we've both done casting before. We know what like, oh, this feels really good. And we thought that was good, but it's just hard to tell. Every time I feel like I go through casting, I'm like, they hate me. This is not it. Like they weren't good. And so we were like, maybe it's good. And then when we heard we got it, it was like just such a celebration. Like I've been a fan of The Amazing Race for many years. And like, you know, I love these CBS shows. I just can't help it. Like I grew up on them. But finish your story though, with the challenge and the race.
But then basically Jesse called us, and then, you know, we were super excited. And yeah, Claire's right. Like we totally did not think that call went well at all. And then afterwards, I remember like thinking, okay, I need to somehow like let Claire down easy, because I don't think we're actually going to get onto the race. I was like, hey, Claire, honestly, this isn't like the biggest deal. Like, you know, you have a job right now. I don't think we could even go onto the race. And Jesse calls us, and I was like, I knew it. And then, so then I called the challenge, and I was like, I'm actually going to do another show, so I'm not going to be able to do this. And then 2 weeks later, so at this point, I think I'm not doing the challenge anymore. They call me back and they're like, okay, actually, the studio wants you to do both shows. And I was like, what? Like, this is crazy. So that's how I was able to do both.
Did you have a long time? Did you have a long time between, and do you think that was an advantage or disadvantage?
Definitely a disadvantage. 100%. I had such ambitious plans. Like I am like a very studious person. So the Amazing Race, I was like, this is a game that almost is fully in your hands, other than like the odd taxi every now and then, but you can do tangible things to study for it. There's no like house vote, there's no politicking. It's really like, you know, can you speak some of the languages?
Can you read a map?
Can you read a map?
Can you use a compass?
Can you do like drive stick shift? So there's a lot of things. I had a whole game plan. I was like, I'm gonna learn Arabic.
Yeah, you had a game plan. Yeah, Derek was trying to become fluent in Arabic. Like, I made a very long prep list. And then Derek was like, oh, actually, I'm going on this other show. And at the time, I was like, even like a month maybe before, or like maybe 2 months at that point before we were going to leave for the race. And I was like, all right, but like, if you go out early, like, it's okay. Like, you know, like now some more weeks to prep in there, you know, like it will be sad, but also
100%, which is why I stacked the tires that way, because I needed to come home.
It was strategy.
You know, I was thinking ahead. But back to the language thing. It was funny because I went on to the challenge and I was like, I really need to learn Spanish. Like there's a whole like half of the world that just only speaks Spanish. So of course we're in Argentina filming, and like anytime I was talking to like a local production person, I was like, so I know like this is how you say it in English, but like, would you mind just like translating that in Spanish? Just I'm just curious for myself, and I would like always like write down the translation they saying it at night. I like go home and practice like yo, yo. Okay, ti amo.
Hey, Amo.
Hey, Amo.
Seriously, you're asking them like, where's the airport? They're like, he's trying to escape. He's trying to get out of here.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So there was about like a month, I think, between when I got off of the challenge and then when the race started. So that month, seriously, was like a whole crash course. I flew to Virginia Beach, and that's where Claire was staying with her parents. And then her parents gave us like a whole Amazing Race boot camp. They taught us how to drive stick shift. We had like a rented car. They would literally blindfold us, put us in the back of their truck, drive us off to a random location, and then give us a map and be like, okay, now you guys need to make your way back home. Like, it was crazy. We did like a ropes course to prep for it. We
like try to learn dances from like YouTube tutorials. We were learning like K-pop dances. We were learning like foreign language songs and like performing them.
Yeah. We learned a couple of K-pop dances, and I was like, Claire, we can never do a dance competition.
We said, let's avoid that at all costs. I don't know about that one.
I was like, we're not getting any better here.
What would you say going in with like were your weaknesses and your strengths, like both individually and as a couple?
I mean, my biggest strength was bringing Claire 100%.
That's just not even sort of true, but it's very nice for you to say. My biggest strength was bringing you, like physically, like to carry back.
I think our strength, like we complement each other. So like the joke I always make was like, me and Claire only had one bag and I carried it. So I always told people I carried the bag, but Claire carried me. Like, I think like it was my like physical like endurance on some of the challenges, but then Claire has like one of the best memories of anyone I know. She has great attention to detail, and there's so many challenges where it literally is just attention to detail. Can you like find like this one small difference between the example and the thing that you're working on?
Yeah. And I would say like for Derek's weirdly good at a lot of things. Like, I feel like you saw that if you watched Big Brother, like he would be very good at random challenges that it's like, well, who's going to be good at this? And it would just
random challenges. You don't think everyone just rolls balls down a hill to a cup?
Don't.
I did that every day in college.
Yeah, I'm sure. And you know, Derek is a very good driver. I'm a very poor driver. I can drive stick. We both learned stick very recently before going on the show, like 2 weeks beforehand. But I would say I am essentially tone deaf. I cannot carry a beat. I cannot learn. I have a good memory. I can remember dance steps. I can remember words. I just can't do them to a beat.
Yeah.
And Derek has a lot of rhythm. Derek is good. Like Derek played piano for like how many years?
Oh man, like since I was like 6.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I've always played piano.
A very long time, even like competitively. So he's just very good at like beat, rhythm, all of that stuff.
I'm also tone deaf, by the way. If you give me another machine that is on tone, then I can play that. But I can't make the sounds myself.
You're not a good singer, but like you can sort of sing, you know?
Yeah. I can tell you this is a song.
Yeah. So I do think that we complement each other pretty well.
Yeah, I think our strengths and weaknesses do kind of like go together, which is great because there's a lot of challenges that you have to do together. Every leg of the race has a roadblock or a detour that you both have to do. But then some legs of the race, or every leg of the race, there's also a roadblock, which only one partner can do. And I think that's when it comes tricky because then it's like, oh, you have to choose who does it, but you don't really know what it's going to be. So you're kind of betting, like, is this going to be a height challenge? Is it going to be memory? Is it going to be physical? And you have to figure that out.
Yeah. And they try to throw you off. They'll be like, who wants to flip the coin?
Oh, yeah.
Like this could be like whatever, a random challenge. Like maybe I have to go collect money from people, and then it's like,
no, who wants to flip this 100-pound quarter?
Yeah, literally. And you're like, well, shucks, like I shouldn't have been doing this one.
Well, did you guys have any big fears? Like, are there any heights fears or anything crazy like that?
Claire, any heights fears?
Yes, I'm terrified of heights. Like.
No.
I know. That was my reaction when she told me too.
And Yeah, I don't like heights at all. Like I've gone bungee jumping before, and like I went with my friends and they all loved it. Like you went once and then they pulled you up and then they're like, you can go again and it will be 75% off because you're already up there. And all my friends did it. And then I went and I came up and they're like, Claire, we have a fantastic deal for you. I was like, no, get me off. I
have a better deal for you. No.
I'm leaving this bridge. I don't like heights at all. Like I don't like falling. I'll say I'll do anything once, but like I don't like going up an elevator if it's like a glass elevator. Like I get very scared. But that's something we knew going on. And so we like try to be conscious of that. But you know, it's like, what can you do?
Claire has like a pretty extreme fear of heights. But part of our strategy going on to the race was like, we knew that the height challenges were usually like not as like physically demanding because all you have to do is like fall. And, you know, Claire has fallen a couple times, even not attached to a harness.
Very clumsy.
Yeah, very.
I fall constantly.
Like, if anyone can fall quickly, it's Claire.
Yeah.
So, she's tall too.
Yeah. Exactly. And I have mass on me. Like, you know, gravity will affect me.
So part of the strategy was, okay, Claire will do the height challenges, even though she's scared of heights. This way I can do the physical challenges later on, because by the end of the race, you have to have an even number of roadblocks per partner.
Right. That's smart. Smart.
Yeah, so even though Claire had a fear of heights, part of our thinking was she's going to have to overcome this for the overall game.
Yeah. And it's like, I never want to do anything that would make us like lose or anything.
Oh yeah,
you know?
I never
so
thought
it's
that.
like, okay, just got to deal with whatever comes your way.
Yeah.
For more news, content, and exclusive interviews, make sure to hit the sub, like, and bell button down below and visit usmagazine.com.